Greetings mod lovers across the universe, DW here, along with no one else, because this is Mod Explaining. In the last episode, I believe I ended up explaining about functions. In this video, I'm going to be explaining about a new variable called arrays. Well, arrays can store multiple pieces of information. Now, you're all probably wondering what that actually means. Well, as usual, I'm actually going to show you in this video. Now, as usual, I'm going to be making my own little program, and guess what I'm going to be calling it? Yep, no surprise. Right, now for this demonstration, I'm actually going to be using colors. Now, hold on. And as usual, I'm also going to be typing a lot, so if I end up going a bit silent, then I apologize. Local R red local y equals yellow. Now, for this demonstration, there are two different ways of doing this. This is the very slow way, although if you want to do it very fast, you can do it this way. Hold on. Colors plus. Okay, and this is where it actually gets a bit complicated. Also, I might be speaking a lot in this video, by the way, guys. In the past, you've seen me use, hold on, open brackets and close brackets. Well, in this episode, for this type of code, I'm going to be using curly brackets, because this code actually needs it in order to work. But, moving on. For this, okay, blue. Yellow. And just to make it a bit more interesting, green. And just like in most programs, you'd have to do a closing bracket. I'm going to do a curly closing bracket. Now, make sure to pay attention to this bit of code here. Also, before I go any further, and although this should be obvious, but just in case it, well, isn't, this bit of code here is just for demonstrating purposes. You don't really need this when you're doing the fast version. So, hold on. Just like as we all know, some programs you need to tell it when to print out. Some programs just print out by themselves, but with this, you actually need to tell it. Now, hold on. Colors and there we go. Also, for this bit, you're also going to need square brackets, and there we go. Okay, now save. Now, just to show off. Now, notice how it ends up sending out blue. Now, you're all probably wondering why it's doing that. Well, as we've said here, it's saying local colors equal blue, red, yellow, and green. We've ended up telling it to print out colors 1. Well, what is the first color in this little thing here? Blue. So if we ended up, so basically right now the code is literally just saying do the first color, which is, by the way, blue. Now if we end up doing this, it'll type out yellow, because yellow is the third color. If we end up putting in number 2, it ends up coming up with red. And just in case anyone's wondering, if you end up doing 4, it ends up coming out as green. Now, just for those that are curious, as you can see, I'm actually going to type out 6. Seeing that there isn't a sixth, however you say that, color, instead of typing out color, it is just going to give us Nothing, because there is no color in the 6th slot. In fact, we haven't even made a 6th slot. Now, that's a cool little trick, but what if you wanted to, instead of just typing out one color at a time, like this, 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 and this, what if you ended up wanting to sending them all out all at once? Well, with the magic of code, we can actually do that. Now, for this bit here, I can keep that the same. Also, I'm going to get rid of this code back here because, once again, this was just for demonstration purposes, so this is not really needed. So, hold on. Oh. There we go. But, this might be... Wait. You're all probably wondering, DW, how are you going to do this? Well, with a bit of old code which some of my viewers should remember. I think you all remember the for loop. With the for loop, we're actually going to make it so it ends up not only just typing out one color, it ends up typing out all the colors right here. Now, hold on. Also, as usual, I'm putting Q in here because Q is my favorite letter. Now, as usual, and instead of this being 6, I'm going to change it to Q. And finally, just with most of my codes, or better yet, with all loops, if you're using a loop, you're going to have to put end at the end. So, yeah. Also, before we end up typing anything else, you may have noticed... Now, if you don't know about the for loop, you might want to go back to some of my... you might want to go back to some of my other videos, because in a couple videos back, I ended up explaining about this exact code. Now, as you can see here, it ends up starting off with 1, ends up finishing with 4, because that's because we've got 4 colors. I just wanted to point that out just in case you didn't know about the for loop. Now, it should end up, when we end up typing out DW, it should end up typing out all the colors. Bingo bada. It ends up typing out blue, red, yellow, and green. Yeah, pretty cool. Now, I'm actually going to mix this up around a bit. Now, we've seen how whenever we type down, say here, when we ended up having it just typing out one color at a time, one kind of brings out blue. What if we had it the other way around? So whenever we type down something like blue in here, it ends up coming up with 1 or a different number. So, let's actually do that. Hold on. First things first, I believe for this bit I don't actually need the for loop, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm going to change up this code a bit as well. Instead of having colors, I'm going to change this to CC. Let's see here. Oh yeah, also, if it isn't obvious, as usual, you can end up calling with local. Here, you can end up calling that anything you like, but as long as it ends up staying the same word as this. So if this word and this word were both dog, then it would work. If this one was cat and this one was dog, then it would not work. So just in case you're wondering. Now, if I end up changing the code a bit, like I was saying, one red, 2 and 3, and last but not least 4. And also, last but not least, we don't need end. What the hell? That was going all over the place a bit. And seeing for this bit, we need CC. But seeing that we don't have the for loop anymore, we no longer need this. Instead, we're going to type out, let's see, we're going to put in here blue. Before we end up doing anything else, I'm just going to quickly show you what this does. Now, if we end up typing this out, nothing ends up coming out. Now, you're all probably wondering why it's done that. Well, for this little bit here, we're actually going to need quotes. Hold on. Because if we don't... Oops. Because if we don't have quotes, it won't actually work. Now, if I end up typing this out, it ends up coming up with 1. See, we've kind of actually switched it around a bit. Instead of when we put in here 1, it ends up coming up with blue. We've now got it from blue coming out as 1. Now, before we go any further, I just like to prove a point. You see, with the other way around, it does actually matter when you end up putting a number in here, which number it is. But seeing that it's the other way around, it doesn't actually matter which position they are in. Now, you're probably wondering what that means. Well, if I change red. Oh, sure. If I end up, hold on, let me quickly get rid of blue and put in red. If I change the number 2 to 12, it will come out as 12. So it doesn't actually matter if it's in order, if it's in 1, 2, 3, or 4. It just, to be honest, you can end up do different numbers. You can make 3 to 31, you could make 1 to 11, and it would not matter. So it doesn't matter which position it is in now. Now, this is all nice and dandy, but what if, instead of it just printing out either just the colors or just the numbers, you could end up setting it up so it ends up not only printing out the colors and numbers, it ends up printing them out both at the same time. And it ends up saying that blue equals 1 or something like that. Now you're all probably wondering what I mean. Well, I'm going to show ya. Now hold on quickly. Now just like last time, if we end up using a for loop, hold on, and I'm gonna put key dot comma even value, and then in pairs, and then I end up doing cc, and then put do, and then all that's left to do. What is left to do, my friend? If we end up getting rid of all of this in here and put instead key dot quotation, or be it quotes even, I think that's what they're called, quotes, then equals quotes dot and then value, and then finally, as usual with all loops, you need to put end at the end. Now it should end up printing out. Now if we end up doing this, as you can see here, it ended up printing out not only the colors but the numbers itself, and in which order as well. So yellow equals 3, blue equals 1, green equals 4, and red equals 12. As I said, or what I at least tried to say. Also, if you're wondering why they're all in different orders instead of it being in order of number, I guess, I have no idea. I think there might be a certain type of code where you can end up putting them in order, but for now they just keep on. The computer just keeps on putting them in different orders for fun, I guess. C'est la vie. Now, this has all been good and fun, but I think it's high time I end up showing you viewers how you can end up using these arrays for better uses. So I think you all know what time it is. It's turtle time. That did not come out the way I thought it would. Also, before we get started, as usual, I'm going to be using the I think it's called, what is it called? The mining turtle. Just need to check there. The mining turtle. The rest of these turtles are just on for display, if you're wondering. So as usual, we're going to go into the mining turtle, and as usual, we're going to go into edit DW, and as you notice here, usually I end up getting rid of some code in the computer for a new episode. I've actually kept this here for a good reason, because this is actually going to be useful later on. Now, before anyone starts asking, and this is the first time you've started watching Mod Explaining, this is some code I ended up using in the last video. This is the forwards command, which I ended up making in the last video. Now, you're probably wondering what the forwards command does, or at least those that are new to the episode. For those that are not new to the episode, you know literally what this does. But for those that are new, I'm actually going to show you. Now, with the DW, or actually it's called the DW command, I call it the forwards command. It's basically set up to end up asking you how many you want to go forward, and then you just say a number and ends up going that many forward. So if I end up putting 5, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes 5 blocks forward. Now, just to make this, hold on, we're going to put it back to where it was. Go back. I think that's in capitals, isn't it? Damn it. Go back. 5. Doing the moonwalk. And, anyway. But anyway, that was all good and fun. That was just to show off to some of you viewers that are new to either new to my channel or just new to this series in general. Now, hold on. Now, I'm actually going to start using the arrays variables in the forwards command. Now, I'm actually going to put some code up here. I'm going to need at least 4 lines? Yeah, I'm going to need 4 lines, yeah. Now, first I'm going to put a couple things down. Local. And I'm actually going to name some of these. DW tar. Now, once again, you can end up naming these any. There is actually a reason I've named it tar, but that's not really that important to get into all of that, so we'll just skip that. Just as last time, I'm going to put in a curly bracket, and I'm going to put in ... and curly bracket again. How some of this code works isn't important, just how the code ends up doing certain things, that's the important part. Now, for this bit, I'm going to call this DW move, and then equals DW tar, and then square brackets, and then 1, and there. Okay, then I'm going to put again local DW DE. God damn it, the buttons are so near to each other. DW, a capital E for DW extra. Extra equals DW. And then I'm going to put, what am I going to put here? DW tar. Then this. I hope you don't mind me talking as much. It's just that I believe I ended up getting, well, not really comments, more of a couple opinions from a couple friends of mine about the last video I did. Apparently I didn't speak as much when I was doing the code, and, well, my friends felt that some of you might end up thinking that your sound systems are broken or something like that. Silly. Anyway, moving on. As usual, I'm going to put in here, and I'm also going to do this, and this, DW, wait, move, and then, yeah, that's how you spell it, move, and then, where am I here? Also, I think it's, yeah, I'm just gonna go with it. Second, and then there's the last one. And then DW, capital E for extra. And just to make this safe, I'm gonna put, oh wait, hold on, what did I put for, oh okay, a normal closed bracket. Did I put a normal closed open bracket right there? I'm just checking just to make sure. Yes, I didn't want to accidentally put in curly open bracket, but hopefully that should work. Now, if I end up typing out, hold on, here I'm just going to type out DW. If I end up just typing out DW, it ends up coming up with an error. There's a good reason for that. If I type down DW and then a couple of words like hi, bye, it ends up coming up with this. Also the code right here. How many forward? I'm going to put 0. Now as you can see here, it says first, HI, second, bye. Well, that's literally saying, in a way, the first word, or either first number or word in this case, is hi, and the second word is bye. Just for those who are interested. It can also work with numbers, 22, 23. See? First number, 22, second number, 23. Now, 0. Now, let's see here. Just to make this a bit more interesting. Now, that's a lot of typing out to do. Now, if you're a bit lazy like me and you don't want to do that much typing, you can end up doing a different way. Like, hold on, like this. If you end up getting rid of this bit of code here, hold on, and instead of, hold on, instead of DW move, we'll put DW tar. Oops, wrong button. 1, and here we're gonna put DW tar 2. Now, hold on. Now remember, this is just a way to make it a bit more easier for yourselves, so it's probably just going to type out the same thing. If it does type out the same thing, then hurrah. Now let's see here. Yep, as you can see here, it ends up typing out just exactly the same thing. Once again, if you're a bit lazy like me, that's a fast way of doing it. A clean slate, so to speak, a much cleaner way of doing it. A much faster and cleaner way. Now, so far, I've ended up just using this code. This code down here, the forwards command, I haven't even actually touched much. Touched much. That kind of sounds like a bit of a rhyme. Well, with this code, I'm actually going to start using this. Now, hold on. Let's see, where am I with this? Now, if I end up changing... So, if I end up doing a couple things... First things first, I'm going to take away this line... Wait. I'm going to take away this line right here. Oh, kind of actually need that. Hold on. And I'm also going to rename first to, instead of having first here, we're going to have, what's the word? We're going to put moving. Moving. Yep. Oh, whoops. We actually did need that. Okay, so instead we're going to have moving, and instead of having second, we're going to put spaces. Hold on, and... Okay. Now, without further ado... Also, I did say I was going to start messing around with this code here. All in good time, gentlemen. All in good time. Now, first things first, I'm actually gonna get rid of the term.write code and the blocks code. But once again, if you're a bit lazy like me and you don't want to get rid of all of that, then instead you can end up doing this. Now, a couple videos back, I believe I ended up showing you this. This ends up kind of just ignoring the code. So basically, end up putting these here. The code ends up just ignoring this. Now, if we keep going, seeing that now it no longer has the blocks command, the blocks code even, instead of having this, we're going to need to change it to DW tar block square bracket, and that's it. So now, instead of it asking us to go forward, basically it'll literally just go forward. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Hold on. So if I just type DW, comes up with an error. But if I type it again, now if we end up putting a number next to it, like say 5, it is now moving forward. So instead of it actually asking us, we've kind of actually changed the DW command to hold on, kind of like the go where is it? Go back command. Also, we've also set it up so it ends up telling us how many we've moved forward and how many spaces. Pretty good. Now I'm gonna do this. Doing the moonwalk. Alright. And yeah, that's actually it, viewers. Sadly, I have no more code to actually show you. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a like. If you want to support this channel, make sure to send this to your friends, your family, or your goldfish. Before I actually sign off, though, I actually like to point this out to some of you viewers. Where I've actually gotten most of this code from, I've actually been watching a certain YouTuber. Sadly, the video I've actually gotten this information from was his last video. So yeah. But I actually have found a couple websites about computercraft and a couple more people talking about computercraft. Although the chances are that some of the information that the people that I've found their videos on might be talking about the same information, and the website might be as well. So in the next video, I might still be doing computercraft, or I might end up going on to a different mod in mind. But I guess we'll see in the next video. Anyway, guys, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.